What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss why the new Batman game won't be announced at E3 2020. Now, I've said this in the beginning of all of the past videos, over the past couple days at least. All these videos, I feel, flow pretty fluidly from one to another. So if you guys have missed a video, we've done a ton. Really starting Thursday night, really like the aftermath of the fact that it wasn't at the Game Awards. We've done one every single day up until this point. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So there's a lot of videos on our channel, and they all, I think, build on each other. I make assumptions in the next video that you've kind of already watched, the past one, so I'm going to keep that up here. So if you guys have missed any of the past videos, make sure you guys check those out. I'll put the links in the description below so you guys can catch up if you've missed any of those, but definitely make sure you check any of those out. I've tried to do as many different kinds of topics as I possibly can. I'm recording these all at once, and I'm probably losing my voice in doing so. So here's the deal. This one very much does rely on yesterday's, where I talked about could it be announced in December. So make sure you guys watch that video as well. But when it comes to E3, I saw on the Thursday night, on the video I made, I saw a lot of people, I think in general, a lot of the mainstream people are probably going to say E3. Just push it to, right, just push it to the next Game Award thing, right? Move it to the next conference, move it to the next show. And I really don't think that's the way it's going. In fact, I believe a few days ago, we even had a Rocksteady video where I talked about, like, which could come first. Could the new Rocksteady game even beat it? And that is ultimately going to be my main argument against the new Batman game being announced at E3, is I have said it for a while, and I'll say it again. I do believe E3 2020 is Rocksteady's time. Now, we know from leaks over the past couple months that they haven't had a real good time either. We focus so much on all the problems that Warner Bros. Montreal has had, but we all don't really tend to remember or tend to think about what is Rocksteady having problems. I think for the most part, we've kind of just assumed that they've been on a pretty smooth road, or they've been like consistently doing stuff productively since Arkham Knight. We kind of found out that that's not true. They've gone through a lot of problems. They may have had canceled games. They've been trying to do a Superman game even a year before Arkham Knight. They started to try and work on one. So they've had problems too. I'm not saying that Rocksteady hasn't had problems and that they also haven't had a rocky development, but at this point, it really can be argued, is their game closer than Warner Bros. Montreal? And I feel like because it's Rocksteady, because it's a big name, because it's one of Warner Bros. Biggest studios, because it's the E3 of the next generation of consoles, because it's right after Marvel's Avengers, whatever Rocksteady's making, even if it's not a Justice League or Suicide Squad game or whatever it is, I feel like it's their time to step up and at least show it. And we've talked about it a lot in the past, and I don't get why Warner Bros. Doesn't get it, but it's like, and again, I'm not saying that I want a 20-minute gameplay presentation. I want the release date at E3. I'm not saying that about Rocksteady's game, and I'm not saying about Warner Bros. Montreal's game. All I'm saying is that I think at E3, we'll see something from Rocksteady's new game, and something is still better than nothing. Even if it takes 2 more years for it to come out, at least we all know that it's real. Now, I don't think that will necessarily happen because, again, Warner Bros. Likes to announce their games, and then they come out within, like, at least, or, at most, at the absolute latest, 12 months after they announce it. So I'm not saying that they are going to do that. I think they could show it and then say, spring 2021. I think that's a big possibility. But my biggest argument is it's two things. One, it's Rocksteady's show for Warner Bros. That's my number one thing, and I'm going to stand by that until something happens that'll convince me otherwise. I truly have always believed that if you show 2 things of the same company at the same time, one will take away from the other. I don't think that's hard to follow. And yes, they're not the same studio. Yes, they may not even be focused on the same character in their game, but they're both Warner Bros. Owned studios. And I also don't think it's hard to imagine or hard to follow me through that Rocksteady's bigger. People expect more. People are very excited about the Arkham game, but people expect more, I feel, from Rocksteady. So when Rocksteady does show whatever's next, it's really going to take a lot of steam out of Warner Bros. Montreal's game. Even if it's already been announced, it's probably going to move people into be like, well, I can't wait for the Arkham game, but at the same time, there's this Rocksteady project. So I feel like that's one of the reasons you don't want both being announced at the same time. The second reason, which actually may even be bigger than the first reason, is this. I cannot fathom, and stop me if you heard this before, though, I cannot fathom that they would wait that long. Now, there's some big problems with that. I've said that before. I said that with the website being down. I've said that with you can't possibly tease us and let the hype and hopes of this game build so high just to have them crash, right? You'd never do that, right? And what did they do? Probably 50,000 times they've done that. So they haven't proven to be trustworthy. They haven't proven to make the right decisions. So my logic saying you don't want two games from the same company shown at the same time, you don't want that. They may not even think of that because they clearly can't think. You may also when I say they can't possibly wait another 6 months, making it 9 months from the time that they originally teased it, they can't possibly do that, right? Well, again, they don't care. But I do want to, I mean, come on. At some point, that has to catch up to them. And I've said it before. And also, again, I'm recording this early. Things could have changed. That's why you got to watch yesterday's video. Maybe things that have happened that maybe puts it faster in motion. Maybe this can be December. Maybe this can be January. I don't know. Yesterday's video does provide a bit more context. That's why it's a very important video for you guys to watch. That does impact things. And so my biggest belief is that this game will be announced before. I mean, it's not a clickbait title, and my biggest reason why is because I do think it's going to be announced before E3 2020. I think by E3, it'll already have been announced. We'll already have seen it, and hopefully it'll be close. I don't want to believe that Rocksteady's game is going to come out first or come out before Warner Bros. Montreal. I don't want that. I really don't. I don't see how that makes sense. I don't see how that's a good look for anybody. I think that's just bad. But at the same time, whichever one gets announced first is probably coming out first. And I really still want to hold true that Warner Bros. Montreal is closer to completion. At least I've always thought that. And I know I've said in the past, in these past videos over these past few days, and I believe it, that they've suffered some problems, that I think there's definitely been some problems in terms of development. They probably want it to be one of those late 2020 games, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, where it comes out in the summer, but I feel like something has happened that's definitely pushed it right into next generation territory, where now they're like, hey, we can make this come out in November of 2020. Maybe we can make it come out in the spring of 2021. Maybe this is like a February game, and it could just be on next-generation consoles. And I feel like they've had to pivot internally. Again, I've never said they're not talented. In fact, I've always said they are talented. I believe that they can make a solid game. I believe that they're talented people that are working on it. But I do think there's just problems. And problems happen in games, but I feel like those problems have pushed it. At the same time, I don't think it's pushed it far enough that you wait another... that's the biggest argument I have is I get it. There's problems, and you maybe can't show as much as you wanted to, but what's stopping you? Because the caveat is the word announcement. All we want is an announcement that it's real. You don't have to show it. Give us the title. Give us the logo. Tell us you're making a Batman game. You don't have to give us a synopsis. You don't have to tell us when it's set. You don't have to tell us when it's coming out. Nothing. It's fine. And so, like, if they realize that one day, and maybe they will, that's all we need. And if that's all we need, that really can come out any day. Literally any day. In December, like any of these days. And I really do believe that is going to happen before E3. I truly, truly do, which would put it before Rocksteady, which would put it before, whatever their presentation would be at E3. It's vital that this game gets announced soon. Even bigger than all that, too, is the fact that, yeah, it's clear they don't care what we think. It's clear that they're just going to announce it when they announce it, and that's not a surprise to anybody. But at the same time, they really have let people down. People are insanely upset, and they're not wrong, and we've talked about that in past videos. They're not wrong to be upset. And we're at this point now where they've continuously disappointed us. And the Game Awards, not even just that, we know... Those that have been with me for a long time, we've been disappointed every time. Arkham Asylum's 10-year anniversary, Gamescom, State of Play, Arkham Origins anniversary, Halloween. I mean, I haven't necessarily thought it was going to be at all of those places, but I thought it was going to be at some, even this past State of Play. But an interesting thing is that a good amount of people, right around Gamescom time, when things were picking up, or even around September, when they announced, that, or when they did Capture the Night, all that stuff, a lot of people jumped onto it and said, Game Awards. This is going to be at the Game Awards. I'm not going to think that it's going to be any sooner because it'll be at the Game Awards. And now we got to the Game Awards, and yes, we, the people that have never left, we have been suffering, disappointment after disappointment every single anniversary or big day or, all these leaks leading up to something that we think, right? We've been hurt all of these times, but a lot of people haven't. A lot of people, the Game Awards is the first big one that it was like, oh, you guys screwed up. This should have been here. It needed to be here. We all expected it here. We all thought it was going to be here. It must not even be real. Like, we're done. We're finished. Because those people, it's not like they don't have like the longest attention spans or anything, or that they have short attention spans. It's just that they aren't as invested as others, and they're like, hey, and exactly as I said, they weren't going to get so into it that they were going to get disappointed 15 times before the Game Awards, but they did expect it there, and it was a big group. Again, you go on social media, there's so many people upset about this, and that's big. That's telling. And don't think for a second that Warner Bros. Montreal doesn't know that. They've seen it. Warner Bros. Has seen it. Again, I've said it before. I think they've seen videos on YouTube, too. I think they've seen some of mine. I think they've seen some of other people. I really do believe that. They know people are upset, and you gotta believe that after all of these disappointments, but then also, like I said, the big one, the Game Awards, where it's a new group of people that had never been mad before, and now they're adding to our army of Arkham people, right? We have this Arkham community. Now we added them in terms of people that are upset at them, and now it's much bigger, and now they see that. So I really don't think they can go till June. Another 6 months? Are you kidding me? That would be, they gotta, at some point, you gotta come out and say, even if maybe it got canceled, maybe something tragic happened and they had to stop. They have to tell us because people are done. People are fed up. They're finished. And I know this has now just become a rant at this point. It still connects to E3. They can't wait till E3. This cannot be announced at E3. It's gotta be sooner. Not even just because of Rocksteady. That's a big reason too, but just for the sake of people's feedback to them or people's emotions and what people feel about their game. It has a big impact, and they need to realize that. And ultimately, I do believe at some point they're going to figure it out, and they're going to, acknowledge us at maybe one day in 30 years. But, no, I really do think it's coming soon, guys. It's just absolutely a joke what we've had to endure so far. But I really think, eventually, it's no secret. Eventually, we'll get it. But, until then, we have to just keep, talking in these videos about it. So, guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought about all of that. We're going to be finally taking a break. We've had videos, I believe, the last 9 days in a row about Batman. We're going to be back on Friday, and then next week, like I've said in the past, we're going to be starting our 2 videos, even 3 videos sometimes a week on Arkham. We'll continue normally, just like we did kind of before this build-up for the Game Awards. And then when it does actually get announced, we will, of course, cover it to death. I'm probably going to, who knows if I even make it that long, but I'm certainly going to try. Okay, so thank you all so much for watching. You guys are the absolute best. You mean the world to me. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon rung, all that stuff. Thank you so much for putting up with me over these last week and a half, and I will see you guys on Friday.